I thought we started the game okay. Listen, we scored a good try at the start. Once we come back into it, we don't exit effectively, so Leinster down our end, and they do well, from a close range try, and they get over. And we were probably in that position, what would you say, 12 times in the game where we don't get over. So listen, and because we're chasing the game, why are we chasing the game? Listen, Munster came up with a good first phase try from the line out, that puts them 14-7 in front. We're attacking down their 22 shortly after that, and then we come up with an intercept, and Ethan Cochrane goes 85 metres and scores under the post, and it's 21-7. Obviously we had a chance before half time to score where, Munster scrapping and fighting for everything, and you got to give them a huge amount of credit for the way they went about things. And they were able to hold us out in half time. We start the second half pretty well, I thought, again, and we're in good position. We have a line out, and we have lots of these pick and go opportunities close to the try line. But Munster just are effective, and we're just lacking a bit of composure there. So is that because it's first game of the season for a number of guys, or whatever that is, or is it Munster very good and we're just not quite accurate enough? So there's a few different factors there at play. And yeah, it just comes down to, listen, we have plenty of territory, we have plenty of possession, probably a lot more than they had, but listen, we've come out of the other end of a 31-14 loss, which is, listen, it's tough one to take, but it's a good wake up for the group, isn't it? Like, it's obviously a group that we're in South Africa, we have a cohort of the Lions guys that are, listen, it's always going to be a bit of a sticky start to the season for us. Listen, we've talked about it over the last while, and now we're seeing it unfold. You sort of talk about it and hope that that's not going to be the case, but you're sort of marking everyone's card, listen, our own in particular. But you still got to go through it, and listen, we weren't good enough today. So, but the big thing is composure, taking opportunities. Munster were a hell of a lot better than we were.
Why do you think you didn't have that composure? Was it down to Munster, really Munster defence? Was it something you were doing?
Yeah, listen, they defended and scrapped for everything, didn't they? Like, listen, they're making very muddy pictures at some of the breakdowns, and I'll have a look back at a few of them, and just in terms of what way. But listen, there's certain things that we just need to be able to control and deal with ourselves. You know what I mean? So, and is that because guys haven't played, or we're not up to the level? Listen, we don't play a pre-season game with that group, and listen, they're just not there yet. You know what I mean? So, we would hope for later in the season they will be there. But listen, it's round 4, but it's round 1 for a lot of our guys. Some guys played, as we know, last week. Deal with a few disruptions. Listen, earlier during the week, or sort of late in the week, and early in the game today, and that's what happens then on the field. You know what I mean? We're just not quite there yet. But it's said like it's round 4.
3 weeks round 4 though, like it's not a situation. It's not a situation we used to be in. Is that a bit of a wake up call?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So, like, 2 losses in South Africa was a wake up as well for us. I thought we responded quite well against the Sharks, but listen, the Sharks didn't offer the same test as what Munster offered today. And like, listen, they were very, very clinical, weren't they, in terms of taking their opportunities. We probably had a lot more opportunities than they had, but we were just not accurate enough in terms of taking the chances that we had. So, but that's the challenge for us now. Listen, the challenge for us is, in the short term, is we've a cohort that are going to be gone next week, and we're playing Zebra at the Aviva, which I'd love to be coming into the press here and talking about this big performance there, sending guys off into national camp, and talking about the group that we have getting ready to play against Zebra, and the opportunity that's there for a number of players, where we'll have guys making their Leinster debuts next week. But unfortunately, I'm talking about, listen, we were subpar today. The opposition, Munster, I thought were like, I heard Clayton talking about hard work, grit, determination. They showed that in spades, didn't they? Whereas we were probably second in hard work, grit and determination. And we just need to take that on the chin and be better the next time. Listen, whatever about playing against them, but the next time we're back together as a group, which will be, whether that's for Dragons away post-November, or whether it's going to be for a Champions Cup game against Harlequins, they're the next 2 games post-November, basically, because we know a lot of guys that were playing today won't be here next week.
Is that where you hard work for determination? That's not
But like as in Murray, it's you've got to understand, like, to get to the pitch of a game, like as in you got to play some games. A lot of those guys from Munster, listen, they played 3 of the URC games or 2 of the 3, and some of them played in the warm games before. So that battle hardened piece, we're just not battle hardened at the moment. And listen, it is what it is. I'm not sure exactly what the solution is for us moving forward. How we get to the physical pitch and speed of playing games. Listen, we need to analyse what we do there for future seasons for sure, because what we've done this year clearly hasn't worked, because, as he touched on, we've lost 3 of the first 4 games.
Say Tyburn getting paid. You don't need me like that.
Yeah.
Does that disappoint you? That's something you're going to
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does disappoint. Well, it's disappointed. Listen, for the fans that turn out to watch, that's what they want to see. And listen, I'm disappointed we didn't give a better account of ourselves for sure. Yeah, because listen, we're down there at the end of the field. Like, as in, we're doing everything bar getting to that last 1 to 2 meters. How many times do we get held up versus, as I said in the first half, Munster take the corner and whatever they get in for that try, which it looks relatively easy. We're in that position, sequences of probably 12 sequences where you might have 5 to 6 carries that are similar to that. So if I was to look back in the game on a review point of view, I'd be like, that's what I would be looking at, like, first and foremost. Are these guys, why are they that bit hungrier than us? Are we talking about saying we're this, this and this? Sometimes it can be hard to put your finger on that, and only the group really know. So it's making sure that we all try and own it. Okay.
How are Jack and Tommy?
Jack and Tommy are okay. Yeah, listen, Tommy, more from his back. Him and Jordan had swapped in a little bit during the week, because Tommy had flagged that on a Monday. Listen, we thought he was going to be trained on Tuesday. Thursday we were just sort of making a decision, and listen, he did make the game in the end, but he's okay. Jack had a slip, I think it was at home, but he just, whatever, twisted his knee. I don't think it's anything too serious. He should be okay. So, but yeah, listen, a few disruptions, but she lose what Jordan, Paddy. But listen, Munster lost players as well, so using it as an excuse. They were better than we were, hungrier for us across the board, and we just need to take that in the chin now.
Okay, stop over from here. Thank you.
As a player, you played with Robert's relationship and the EC teams here, and you've been unbelievably consistent in this fixture, and you've kept your foot on Munster's throat for a decade. Does it hurt that they get a win here and that you potentially have taken your foot off their throat today in that?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was just saying it outside during the radio piece there. Like, as in, I remember being in this ground. I've been around too long. 2009. Like, as in, I remember being at the back of the stand. We had media before. We trained here on the Thursday, and I was the only player that came across. And so I remember Munster were coming in, and like they were getting ready for their captain's run, and I was the only person here, and as in Leinster person. But I remember the media. Like, as in, it was what, like, as in. It's the derogatory tone that I was being addressed in, and what chance have you guys got? Because remember, Munster, we had beaten Harlequins emphatically 6-5, if you remember, in the Stoop in the quarterfinal, which became a very famous game, as we all remember, for different reasons. And Munster beaten Ospreys by 40 points in the quarterfinal, and nobody was giving us a chance. So at some point, people will stand up and go, "Listen, enough's enough." You know what I mean? So, and the squad's the same. It's 15 players on the field. You've 8 bench and blah 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 blah. So it's on the day, yeah. Listen, our guys just need to, as I said, like, take it on the chin now and get better for the next time. Because there's a lot more in it. You know what I mean? Like, as in, like, it's not a fatal loss for us at the moment, is it? But like, as in, we've lost 3 pool games, or sorry, 3 league games. It's more we lost in the whole campaign last year, including the knockouts. So yeah, like, we've a hell of a lot of work to do. So, and that's the mindset we just need to adopt, because listen, what happens has happened. It's the next thing what we're made of, and the group needs to know what they're made of.
Does it become a very different challenge? It's a very different season than the last year, where you're coming from behind and you're marking for errors. You want to get that home run that you know is so important. How does it affect kind of the pressure
it's in pressure, yeah. Well, the first thing will be trying to get into the top 8 at the way we're going at the moment, you know what I mean? So it's not like even a home run, we're miles away from that conversation at the moment. So, as I mean, it's step by step. So, and step by step means, listen, we're saying like bye to a good cohort in the dressing room, and they need to, I don't know, whatever that is, bottle it up and like for when they come back together, because listen, we'll have an idea when we come back together. It's okay, right? Do you remember what happened the last time we were all together, lads? Which was here, we were in this dressing room, as in next door. So we need to be able to take our minds back to this moment and not just brush over it. And yeah, listen, learn from it, and you know, like put some of the things that we don't do well. But like, there's other, listen, it's not all like it's all negative. Listen, there was lots of good parts of play today, but the desperation part that Munster are showing, listen, there'll be plenty of examples of that. Like, what are we seeing here, fellas? But some of that can be easily fixed, I believe. But yeah, it's a totally different challenge for us, because when we lost, it was well into the season before we lost our first URC game. Which is Africa, I think, wasn't it, off the top of my head, Bulls, and then it was Scarlets later on. So it just means there's no margin for error later in the year. But maybe that's not a bad thing, because it keeps everyone focused, and you know, like sometimes if you remember the tail end of the last season, like you're into that last block, and people's mind, listen, you know, everyone goes, oh, it's just you need to turn up and win, and that's not the way the game is, you know what I mean? So we're seeing with the South African teams, 3 games, seen it today, but you're seeing with lots of teams across the board that have had good pre-seasons, and like they're in good form, and that's just, it's like it doesn't, no, the ladder never stays the same, does it? So go back to 2009, like we had no chance that day. That was the perceived notion out there, and yeah, like every year, like there's always someone coming for us. So, or there's someone coming. Like everyone wants to win, don't they? Like I said, nobody's turning up and go, oh, well, you beat us last year, so we'll actually beat us again. That's not the way the world works.
You were just at that point, like people coming to you, like that massive noise contingents, like a bigger target on your backs this season. Is that something maybe the players have to look? There's a mentality shift there.
Yeah. They need to own that, yeah. And it's a great honour, whatever it is, you know, for the club and all the individuals involved, because 14 players, like it is amazing, but like, there was going to be some suffering, I think, unfortunately for us off the back of it, and we're going through it. But we'll figure things out, and the group will come back strong. And yeah, not assuming, but like making sure that we have the right mindset in terms of how we approach the next time we play, which is next weekend, but beyond that, when the group is back together again. So, yeah, it's good. It's a very good challenge. And yeah, it's good. Show we're about.
You like preview Munster and then seeing them obviously tonight. Obviously, you mentioned taking as the new head coach. Is it a different team? Do they play to different challenge now?
Good question. The game last year, obviously we started off a million miles an hour, but like Munster were in the game for large parts, where we were hanging on. They'd have tried to slide, if you remember, for a forward pass to the far end. We'd scramble back. Remember Tom Clarkson, who was playing 6 bizarrely at the time, scrambles back and makes a cover tackle. And there were moments we were hanging in. Munster didn't deal with a few disruptions that they had probably early in the game, so hence we had a decent lead. But so we know they're fighting for everything. We've had games where it's come down to very tight margins, so it's not like have lost the run of ourselves thinking we're a lot better team than they are. Like, so we know that they're a serious team. So, and some of the games have been on very, very tight margins. You know, like we're 14-7. If we build phases of pressure and score to get the game back to 14 all, it's this different game, isn't it? They go 85 metres. But I thought we were, at half time, you know, I thought we were saying the right things, pretty composed. But we need to learn and try and figure that out and be better when we are in that scenario. So, but I'd rather see that happening now, where we can implement certain things than in a knockout game where it's too late. So, yeah, listen, it's going to sting the lads, this is. So, but it's good that it does sting them, because they need to show what they're about now in terms of the response part. So listen, it's an exciting challenge for us.
Yeah, a massive bench remaining in the Ireland squad, so I guess that's a massive point, right? There's also plenty a bit of challenge. They're all going to have one name.
Yeah, but that's the nature. Listen, it is what it is. It's the system that's here. So we want to fight for getting everyone into the squad. But listen, if you're some of those Munster fellas, like, what is that? Listen, I know what it's like missing out in national squads and having a bit of a chip on the shoulder, which you see with a lot of Munster guys today. But it was good for our guys to see that, you know what I mean? So it's like, not that they should have been surprised by it. They know it's coming. But like, it's still all those individual battles out there. And listen, Munster won a lot of individual battles and you got to give them credit for it. So they're the victors today. So they're the ones who take the credit and we just have to take the criticism because that's the way professional sport top end works. So listen, I'll take the criticism, but listen, it's a collective piece, isn't it? We all need to own it together.
21 players will call up. You understanding that all of them will be gone next week. I won't be left behind.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I'm hoping everyone's come through, so it's not any more than 21. But, which is a very strong possibility. But it is what it is, isn't it? Like lads, but it's or ladies. It's great. Listen, I would love to be sitting here on the back and win the game, and you send that group away, and then you're right. We're focused on the next group, and we are focused on the next group. But listen, we've got nothing from today, 0 points again, and yeah, listen, for the other group that's going to play next week, I'm hugely excited to work with them. But as we know, listen, we're playing Zebra, and like I don't think Italy have a game outside of the window, so they'll be loaded up with all their crew, and listen, it's a challenge again, isn't it? Zebra won on the road, and they've picked up more points, and they've already picked up a couple of home wins this season. So, yeah, it's a proper challenge, isn't it? So we just need to embrace it.
Okay, folks, Josh, I'm on the way, so. Rogers? Okay. Okay, otherwise embargoed for Monday, guys? I've no problem video being recorded and just being kept for Monday, but otherwise it's everything held for Monday there. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Josh, like you've had a great record in this fixture over the last decade. How hard is that?
Yeah, it's very disappointing. It was a dead quiet change room. As you said, they're always tough games, tend to be pretty close all the time, and thought, firstly, credit to Munster. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. There's a lot of things we didn't do well. Sloppy areas, we had a lot of chances, just didn't take them. Munster, I thought were brilliant. I thought their defence was incredible. Credit to Liams for that, and yeah, very disappointing day. But I think a lot of credit has to go to them.
You made it. Like the start was almost like last year. You were completely dominant, 3 strong hands, all try, you were in collisions. How did it change? How did you think they turned the tide on you? Or was it you guys sticking on a little bit from that level that you get the first time?
It's hard to know. They had a couple of well taken tries. I think they were it was obviously an intercept, and then I think it was Tom Farrell, wasn't it? Brilliant, a little catch, nice kick from Crowley, and sometimes those, no matter how well you play, those can go against you. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think, thinking of myself then, could I have maybe messaged calmed lads down or changed the messaging or something? Something I'm aware of. Maybe I could have done that a bit better. Stayed calm, because obviously it can happen any game that you see it happen quite a lot, where just a couple of strikes out of nowhere. We were playing pretty well first half, otherwise just we breakaway tries. But yeah, it's probably comes down to having a bit better composure. But I thought we did well. We did well up to probably the 22, and then we kind of threw the ball away a bit. So we spoke about at half time was we probably just went away from the basics, holding on to the ball, going through the phases. We probably tried to force it a bit too much, and second half was a bit better. Started the second half, but we just couldn't break down the defence.
It's obviously been a very disjointed first 4 games because of the nature of people coming back from the lines and everything. Do you feel like you're chasing them a little bit as
Yeah, it's definitely been tricky. There's obviously a few lads first games out today. It's definitely been a different year in that way, especially the amount of lads that were away quite late into the summer, and then you had the Lions lads, Irish lads, and then the lads who are training. So it's been very kind of some lads in, some lads out. Obviously the group goes off to South Africa. A lot of us were still doing pre-season training, so it has been quite disjointed, but I don't think we can take that as an excuse. A lot of times we're kind of used to it in terms of, like, normally happens towards the end of the season. It kind of happens like that. You have a good group away from the Six Nations, and then we come back, and then we've kind of had those South Africa 2 weeks. So it's not something we can use as an excuse, I think, but it obviously does make it, I suppose, a bit trickier to a normal phase in the season, I suppose.
Does it seem like a much different Munster team? They new coach and a few change announcements. Do they present different challenge?
I thought they kind of brought what I'd always expect from the Munster team. They're always, particularly when they play against us, they're always well up for it, win the physical battle. They worked really hard for each other, and I thought that was, I would have said it was as typical of Munster performance. But I thought they were very organised as well, as in, even when we felt like we'd kind of broken them defensively, they were scrambling back. They took their chances well in attack, and yeah, they looked very, very well, very, very good. The one thing I thought was brilliant, whatever the attitude that they got to, or they were at the right pitch, I suppose. They looked like they really wanted it, and they worked really hard for each other. So it's obviously, we felt we could have done a lot better, but I think they have to get a lot of credit for the performance they put in.
But Leinster don't lose very often. I can't imagine you've gone into an international camp with a game like this just behind you. Like, what kind of challenge is that for you to lead Leinster? I imagine you're unsatisfying.
Yeah, it's tough. It feels it's a funny feeling. You feel like you're kind of abandoning the lads after a tough loss like that. You're just disappearing then in Monday for training camp. I think Leo mentioned it in the change room afterwards. There's a brilliant opportunity for a lot of lads to get a crack at Zebra this week, and right a few things we didn't do well today. But it is tricky. Like, next time we'll be back together as a full group is probably Harlequins, I think, if I have that right. So it's not ideal. We'll definitely have to, I suppose, as an individual, I think you're obviously going into, like for me, going into Irish camp now, you kind of, and as an individual, you're kind of thinking, what could I have done better? And definitely a lot of motivation to play the next game, whatever that is. So, but it's, yeah, as I said, it's a tricky part of the season. I was talking to someone there. It's like, obviously, we're very lucky in that we don't have to have these conversations too many times in a season, which is obviously good. But we've had a few of them now to start the season, so it's definitely a different position to be in. But we'll have to keep our heads up and get on with it, I think.
For a huge number of the next game plays coming against New Zealand in Chicago, the fact that you haven't had those games, and it's disjointed here, you've got 2 weeks of camp to try and get it right to play against the team who are 9 games into the international season. It's a huge step to get there. Do you feel like, will that focus the minds a little bit? Do you kind of have to get that together yourselves? Is it a bit worrying that it's so soon in the season and you're playing against such a good team in less than 2 weeks' time now?
Yeah, it's definitely very different. I'm pretty used to being, you know what I mean, you're normally like well match fit. You played like 4 games. I think it's normally 3 or 4 games at least by the time you're getting into international time. But I think the coaches normally do it really well. In Irish camp anyway, I'd say we'll be pretty, we'll work hard from a fitness point of view, and then it's good. It's actually good having those 2 weeks for a bit of continuity and that kind of thing. So it should be good in that way. It's obviously tricky for lads. There's obviously a balance, I suppose, because there's obviously a point where you're really fresh and it's great, and then there's a point where you would like more game time. But hopefully we can find the balance anyway. We'll see in couple of weeks, I suppose. Absolutely, yeah. He was very, very good today. Put in a really good performance. His first game back as well, I believe, as well. So he was, it's very good. He's been playing brilliantly this season, in fairness to him. So nice to have him on the team.
Okay, folks. Cheers.
Cheers. All the best.